Hi, I'm Jason with SJC. I just wanted to share some information now that Tacoma's new law was passed as an initiative of the people. So in this year, 2023, we had a new law set that went into effect in Tacoma that were passed by the Tacoma City Council. I believe that was in July that those went into effect. That increased rent increases to 120 days, does require owners to have a license with the city, regardless of whether you have a manager who has a license. Our license used to cover our clients, but the owners of the property are going to have a business license to be able to process an eviction in the city. Now, with Measure 1 passing by a vote of the people, it was narrowly passed by a few hundred votes. That has gone into effect as of December 8th. These are kind of stacked on top of the other regulations that are still in effect, but ones that are more restrictive with this supersede the older rules. The older rules limited late fees to 1.5%. The new measure limits it to simply $10 per month maximum. It limits the amount of move-in costs that can be charged. And the way it's written, it could be interpreted, I think, very strongly from the way that it's written, that includes screening fees. So for some of our clients, you may see kind of an odd security deposit amount. That's because we have to take what they've paid in screening fees and then make sure that plus the deposit does not exceed an amount equal to 1 month's rent. There can't be any other fees charged at that move-in. The eviction there's an eviction prohibit section that prohibits evictions during the school year if the tenant claims to have someone going to school in the property. They don't actually have to prove it. It does give them the legal excuse to use that. And there's also a cold weather eviction ban, regardless, in the city between November 1st and April 1st. Now, you can go get a writ. You can start the process of the eviction, but you can't do the actual physical eviction. The sheriff won't meet you there and do the physical eviction during those times. So it limits the time that evictions can take place in the city limits of Tacoma. It also put a section on regarding rent increases and notices. There are 2 notices that have to be sent out for a rent increase now. There are specific forms from the city that require us to give information to the tenant, including information on how they can get relocation assistance. In other words, the landlord has to pay that relocation assistance to the tenant if the rent increases 5% or more. And it goes up depending on that amount as far as the amount of the relocation assistance. Between 5% and 7.5%, it is 2 times the rent amount. Between 7.5% and 10 times percent is 2.5 times. And at 10 or above, it is 3 times the rent amount that the landlord would have to pay in assistance to the tenant if they increase the rent by that amount. So in effect, rent increases are going to be limited to below 5%. And you still have to give the 2 notices, one between 210 days and 180 days, and then another one between 120 days and 90 days. And those notices are specific forms that the city has released that you have to use. And again, it gives them information on how they can contact attorneys and things like that. Landlords that do not follow these rules can be sued by the tenants directly. The city did say that they are not going to enforce Measure 1. And so that created a little bit of confusion. Is Measure 1 actually in effect? It is in effect. What this means is the city is not going to implement fines on landlords, but instead direct the tenants to groups of attorneys that will file lawsuits on behalf of the tenants and sue the landlords directly for violation of Measure 1. Again, these rules have gone into effect as of December 8th, 2023. So if you are a landlord in the city, the first step that you need to do is get a business license. In fact, I forgot to mention the requirement is even to post a notice of rent increase, the landlord has to have a business license in the city of Tacoma. So that's also, in addition to being able to do the eviction, just to simply do your rent increase, you're supposed to have a license with the city and pay that amount to the city. You also cannot post or add any other fees to tenants for eviction. So you cannot charge attorney fees. You cannot charge post-notice fees onto tenants for enforcement. You're, again, simply limited to the $10 per month maximum late fee. If you have questions, you can reach out to us. For our clients I'm sending this out to. Just know that you may see a little bit lower deposit amounts. We also are going to be very stringent on the screening criteria. And other areas of the state, we do have the option of asking for a higher deposit for somebody that maybe screens well, but has a couple of credit issues, things like that. In the city of Tacoma, we are not able to have that leeway to work with individuals now. So that, in effect, probably means a lot of borderline tenant applications as far as credit are not going to be able to move forward in the city limits of Tacoma. So I do think it's a little bit self-defeating as far as getting people housed and providing affordable housing for tenants. I think it is going to make it more difficult on that. You can reach out with questions that you have. I'm here to help. Thanks.